Yo, 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 what is up? What is up, YouTube boxing family? It's K right here. I'm back with another good video for y'all today. I just wanted to talk about, I guess, the situation at hand with Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. For those of you that don't know, Deontay Wilder, if I'm not mistaken, has stated that he is, planning on making a return back to boxing. Um, I think this is a great idea. I think Deontay Wilder has proven himself to be, one of the greatest heavyweights ever. And I think, me personally, I truly believe he got cheated by Tyson Fury, in all three fights. But still, Deontay Wilder has proven himself to be levels above Fury, of like in terms of success and all the skill set that he does have to be great. But just based off of what we're seeing now from Wilder, it's now shown that the heavyweight division is actually very boring without Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder, he was right from the very beginning. He runs, the heavyweight division. I think Deontay Wilder is one of the most dangerous, high-level fighters in the heavyweight division. And I think based off of what we've been seeing out of Deontay Wilder, we can't really say that Deontay Wilder has really made the heavyweight division worse. He actually made the heavyweight division really good. So I think either way, Deontay Wilder, he needs to get his just due, and I think eventually, it's gonna come a time where Deontay Wilder is not going to be, in the sport anymore, and then let the heavyweight division is just gonna end up like a, it's gonna end up like the cruiserweight division, just like a bunch of, you know, pussified heavyweights that aren't really that good, and they're just gonna basically have fights where fights are just gonna go to a decision versus not being back in its glory days where fights were actually, ending up by knockout, because that's what the heavyweight division is really known for, knockouts. But like the old saying goes, if the heavyweight division goes, there goes so goes the sport of boxing. So I just think based off of what we're seeing right now, Deontay Wilder, he's pretty much like the only person that's holding up, or that's making the heavyweight division very interesting. And I don't see Tyson Fury really being marketable in the heavyweight division. He never really was marketable, and Deontay Wilder is like the only person that really made Tyson Fury's name blow up. But Tyson Fury is really not that popular. People don't like criminals in the sport of boxing, and I don't think anybody has ever praised criminals in the sport, minus a couple fighters. Well, I'll probably say Canelo Alvarez. People think Canelo is so great, but yet they don't understand that Canelo Alvarez, he's been associated with criminal enterprises before. But either way, Canelo only gets that pass because he hasn't put himself into deep waters where people know that Canelo is actually very dirty, and he deserves to be held like accountable. But compared to Tyson Fury or any other dirty fighter that is connected with criminal syndicate groups, those boxers are never to be respected in the sport. But the average consumer does not want to put their money into something where they know that somebody has bad intentions to be a sadistic piece of shit criminal. So either way, I mean, I just think based off of what Deontay Wilder has done, for the heavyweight division, he's put in a lot of work for the heavyweight division. Uh, he's had over 10 successful, title defenses, tied up with Muhammad Ali. It could have been like 11 if he didn't get cheated by Tyson Fury and cheated by the system. That screwed him over. But I mean, honestly, Deontay Wilder is one of the most feared and deadliest heavyweights in the world. One shot he hits you with, it's game over, and Deontay Wilder has to be perfect for 1 second. Versus for all the other heavyweights now, they have to be perfect for 12 rounds. But either way, let's talk about who Deontay Wilder could fight. I think Deontay Wilder could very well fight a guy like Robert Helenius. I think Robert Helenius has understood what his role is in the heavyweight division. I don't think Helenius is really going to be able to beat Wilder, just simply due to the manner that, Robert Helenius is one of those type of fighters where he's really not that good technical wise, but to a semi versatility of him using his jab and being very herky jerky in a way where honestly his type of style could actually beat Tyson Fury. Surprisingly, I personally think Robert Helenius would be that type of dude where he could beat a Tyson Fury, but when it comes to a Deontay Wilder, I don't think so. I think based off of his style is really a good, tall, lanky, very, educated jab, heavyweight type of fighting style where he's able to do the things that he wants to do and he's really good at it. So, I mean, Hellenius doesn't fight like your average, Euro bum fighter. He's actually a very, very intellectually sound fighter. He has like a very good semi, American style type of fighting where he really keeps his jab very active, but he knows how to move his head out of the pipeline to make himself more successful in dominating his opponents. So I think everything that Robert Helenius has done so far, it's definitely created massive improvements because in the past previously he really wasn't that much of a how should I say a jab first type of fighter. He tries to pop out his jab sometimes, but Helenius was always that type of person where he always made sure that he can use his size before he uses his jab in order to win like a fight. But I think with like the new training that he's probably has gotten and everything that he has around him, I think Helenius is just that type of guy where he fights a lot better coming out here to like America, and I'm pretty sure he's getting heavy level sparring, minus from Deontay Wilder, but still, I think Deontay Wilder is just that type of person where every time when people do fight Deontay Wilder, they actually end up getting better. They actually end up being that type of fighter where you never really expected them to actually come back, with the same way. I mean, granted, not every fighter is better fighting Deontay Wilder because it's based off of how much dexterity and how much longevity that they have left, in the sport to actually determine if they're going to be good or not, in their respective divisions. So I don't really know per se if that would be like the proper theory, but it seems like 9 times out of 10, Deontay Wilder's former opponents actually end up fighting better. Minus, like a couple exceptions, like guys like Dominic Brazil, he didn't look good coming back. But surprisingly, fighters like who Chris Arreola, he had like a very good outing with Andy Ruiz, in which many had thought he actually won that fight, and he should have won that fight because he's actually fought way better competition than Andy, and he actually seems to be like a more hungrier fighter in terms of where his ceiling was, in the division at one point in time. I will say, based off of what we see, I think based off of the progression that Deontay Wilder, former foes have had, is just that, the more activity that they have with, keeping their name active in the, discussion, I think that's what makes, Deontay Wilder actually more credible in the division. I mean, the Luis Ortiz fight that obviously made Luis Ortiz a name now. He's obviously not a champion yet, but he wants to, you know, keep continuing to become a world champion. But that just shows that the Deontay Wilder fight, really made Luis Ortiz a lot more hungrier, and he's gotten way better, and the skill set is definitely showing. But then again, Luis Ortiz is getting older, so we can't really say that he's actually super duper good yet. But I think based off of what we're seeing out of him, he just has a lot of like he still has a lot more tough fights like ahead of him. But I think eventually, we're probably gonna end up seeing him come into the stage a lot faster when we want to start seeing Luis Ortiz in the big fights. And I think, the only big fights that are going to have to matter to him at this point is Andy Ruiz if he beats him. And then the winner of this fight can get the winner between AJ and Usyk, or they'll just go after Tyson Fury because I don't see Tyson Fury staying long in the heavyweight division. He says that he's gonna be retiring, after the Dillian White fight, but then next minute he says, "Ah, yeah, I'm coming back." It's like, bro, it's like nobody cares, man. Like, no one gives two shits about you. People know that you're just a dirty fighter at the end of the day, and whatever reason may happen, it like it for somehow shows that Tyson Fury is fine fighting opposition that he knows that present a very difficult challenge to him where he doesn't need to cheat. Like if he knows he could win a fight, you could obviously tell that he doesn't look like the same Fury compared to, the Deontay Wilder fights, because even with like the fight with Otto Wallin and Thomas Schwarz, the difference was is that Tyson Fury did not look anywhere near the level of fighting style that he presented to Wilder, because Wilder was actually hurting Tyson Fury and giving Tyson Fury a difficult challenge. And then on top of that, with him having to cheat, you can tell that he was not the same physique. He wasn't the same fighter, and everything that he did in all three of those fights compared to the fights that he looked absolute dog water in, he didn't even look like he didn't look like the same guy. So I mean, that's just me though. I mean, that's just how I see the development of a fighter that claims to say that they're good when they have to use unfair advantages. But then when you look at how they progress after each fight, you can easily tell that they're not a good fighter because they're struggling against lower tier competition that they're supposed to blow out within a round or two. But then yet when you pump it up to the high level, and we all know that you get banged up in these fights, but you have to like be a dirty piece of crap fighter in those fights in order to keep yourself relevant, in the division. It's like that's pretty sad. I mean, that doesn't show that you're really a legitimate world champion. But that's very much it. I mean, I think Deontay Wilder, he's probably going to end up facing Andy Ruiz sometime soon. But I think for a good tune-up, I'd like to see Robert Helenius, then Andy Ruiz, and then fight the winner of AJ and Usyk. But I think that's what Wilder's waiting for. So I don't know. Let me know what you. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Deontay Wilder's going to be going after either of those names, or do you think he's going to be lined up to lined up to fight for like a world title soon? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day and goodbye. Salute to the mighty LDBC and TWT. I'll see you guys. Bye.